What is up, friends, family, and random people of the internet? My name is Will, and welcome to the channel. So today, out in the garage, we're going to finally talk about the car, the one and only, the Vega, my inexplicably amazing project car that only I seem to love, for whatever reason. Anyways, we'll roll the B-roll, and then we'll get into it. Alright, so since I'm a little short on car parts right now, we're just going to do a to-do list today, and then maybe the next video we'll work on it. Anyways, so we'll go through it system by system. First and foremost in my mind is the fuel system, mainly because this car sat for 20 years, I think, with 1 or 2 gallons in the tank. I don't know, when I got it the tank was empty, but the sending unit kind of looks a lot like this, which, less than ideal for when you want to be pumping fuel. The pickup's all gross and nasty, filter's all dry rotted and full of rust. That wire should not be like that. And there's a sweet hole in the resistor for the fuel level. So, I think the plan for that is to not only put a new pump on, but fabricate a new sending unit. Alright guys, so to save you the anguish of listening to me talk to myself the whole time and write and look at the car and try to figure out what I wanted to put on the list, we forwarded through time a little bit. But anyways, we do have a list on the required cardboard, as you always need for a project car. It's pretty lengthy, just because, like I said, this car had been sitting for 20 years when I got it. Um, and so it needs some help. It needs just a lot of normal maintenance stuff, and then it needs some other things fixed. So essentially, the background on this car, since we're here, we're talking about it. Yeah, we'll go over it a little bit. About right before I got this car, I was in the need to get rid of a car because I bought a new one. The daily was at its limit of being useful. So, scouring the internet and came across this car. It was in Alabama, owned by a couple of older guys. One brother had given it to the other, and then they drove it all the way up till 98, I think it was. And that sat till 2018, which is when I got it. And they've done a lot of work to this car. They actually did a full engine swap. So this actually has a 3.2 liter V6 out of a 1978 Chevy Monza in it, which is kind of neat. What is it, about 3 weeks ago, got it to fire up for the first time, so that was awesome. What else is in this car? It also has the automatic from that Monza. Not really sure which one it is. Might be a Turbo 200, might be something they made in their backyard. I really don't know. What else? Oh yeah, it's a fun story. This car actually started life as a panel, which for the Vegas was just a wagon without the rear windows and without a rear seat. Don't think they had passenger seats either. So the brother that actually bought the car originally, he was telling me he went to a junkyard actually shortly after he bought the car and found windows, seats. I think he found a couple other things. I'm not really sure. And converted this over to a wagon. So this actually has a panel VIN, which is kind of neat. Then over its lifetime, got a paint job. I think this car was brown. I was just looking. Can't really tell. Maybe it was white. That's right. I think it was white, and brown is the primer color. So it went from white to a forward yellow of some sort. Not really sure. It's kind of faded. Kind of dig it though. Oh yeah, so like I was saying, paint is not factory. Was white, now it's yellow. It's got this sweet green pinstripe down the side, which will probably end up staying if I ever repaint this car. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Has some sweet mushrooms on the back of the on the lift hatch, so that'll be fun to try and repaint back on there at some point. What else is special about this car? So it has a sweet green interior that somebody made at some point. I'm not really sure who decided to, but it's got some sweet paneling door panels, as well as that sweet green shag carpet down there. Same goes for these little kick panels here. So yeah, so it's got some fun things going for it. So main thing on the list for me right now is get the fuel system all ironed out. Like I was saying earlier, the fuel tank had lots of rust in it when I got it. So what I'm gonna do, hopefully in the near future, is buy a sending unit. Not sure which one yet. Turns out it's very tough to find a Vega specific sending unit, because they're probably the first car GM made with electric fuel pump in the tank, which is pretty impressive. Kind of whatever nowadays, because most modern cars have that. So anyways, so I'm probably going to end up fabbing my own sending unit here in the near future, so I can get the tank back in. Got the tank also patched, had 3 or 4 rust holes in it, so took that out, had it cleaned up, redone. Found a local shop that does the gas tank renew process, I guess is the best word for it. So that's done. Get that put back in, get all the fuel lines figured out. The other thing about that, getting the fuel system figured out, which is kind of a big one, kind of weird, is since this car is a V6 now, the fuel line, which is right here that comes up from the tank is actually in a funny spot, because Vegas used to come, or I should say came factory with it, I-4, and so whoever did the fuel system kind of made it come up in the factory location and kind of go over, loop around, and go into the carb, which less than ideal, at least for me, because I just don't like the way it looks. So we'll get that figured out. The other thing I've been doing is trying to label everything, because as you can see, there's kind of a spaghetti mess of wires and hoses and stuff all on the top side of this engine. So I labeled some things, trying to figure out where they go, what they are. Since the engine came out of a 78 Monza, there was, some weird... Ugh, you guys can't see that. Sorry, we'll start that over. Since this engine came out of a 78 Monza, it's got some weird emission stuff, some weird vacuum stuff going on, so I gotta kind of figure that out. What else needs to happen in the near future? We gotta put the brakes back together. I pulled them apart, rebuilt the wheel cylinders in the rear, since this has discs up front and drums in the rear. It's kind of neat. Put new pads in the rear as well, but I found out the hard lines that go across the axle are kind of rusty, and they actually end up stripping out a little bit, so I got to replace those. Not sure if I'm going to end up bending my own, or trying to kind of put my own in there. I know there's a few places around that might sell the factory replacement lines, so we'll have to check into that in the near future. I got to put the front end back together, or I should say the front brakes and that stuff. Pulled the rotors off to rebuild them, or I should say pulled the calipers off to rebuild them. It's also tough to find replacement rotors for this car, surprisingly, because they are non-vented, so that's always fun. I did, however, find a pair of used ones that are better than the ones that came off this car, so I gotta hit those with some sandpaper to knock some of the rust off, and then those can go back on. I gotta check the bearings in those, because for these cars the hubs and rotors are all one piece, which is kind of neat. So I gotta figure that out, see if the bearings in the used rotors that I bought can be reused. If not, I did buy new bearings, so we can do that. What else is on my list here? I also gotta bleed the brakes since there's no fluid in there anymore. What else? We gotta replace all the rubber lines in the engine bay, because I don't know if you guys saw, a lot of them are dry rotted, kind of gross, they're kind of everywhere. We can also try and reroute them, kind of clean it up. Hopefully it makes it look a little bit cleaner in there, makes it a little bit nicer to work on later. We'll see. We need to check all the wiring, because the guys that did it did a good job, but over the years it's kind of come loose and it kind of looks like it's a mess in there, so I need to see what happened there, maybe fix some connections, that kind of fun stuff. We gotta make sure the gauges actually work. Like I said, the car ran, but not for long enough to figure out if any of the gauges work. Actually, I think the only one that I know works is the tach, because that one spins when you turn the key. Speaking of the key, we also need to replace the ignition, because you can start this car without a key. It's kind of not what I want. Not that anybody's going to steal this amazing piece of automotive history, but it's one of those things. So as you guys saw in the interior, the driver's seat doesn't match the passenger seat. I do have the matching seat. It's torn though, which is kind of annoying, but life happens. So we may end up swapping that back in after I clean everything. Let's see, we gotta replace the shift knob because that just comes off. What else? We gotta replace all the weather stripping because that's all gone. At some point in the future of this car, I need to fix some rust holes. There are a couple in the floor. They aren't too bad, probably about the size of a 50-cent piece. We'll see if we get to that. Might just drive it the way it is. I'm not really sure. Gotta make sure the seat belts are good. This car actually does have shoulder belts, which is kind of neat. But I do know that the lap belt on the driver's side is taken out. I'd assume because of said rust hole in the floor. What else? What else? Need to check all the fluids. I did do an oil change before I tried to start this car, but since it was sitting for a while after I changed the oil, it's probably not a bad idea to change it again, just in case. Go check trans fluid, see how bad it is, good it is, and check the level of it. I may end up just dropping it and replacing it just cause. I need to crack the rear diff just to check it out, change the fluid in that. What else do we need to do? We need to drop the coolant and just make sure it's all good. I know this car may or may not have the self-mixing antifreeze, so you gotta actually put antifreeze and water together and hope you get it right. Probably gonna change that. I know we also need to look at the radiator because the bottom side of it's really pitted. So far it's holding, but just to make myself feel better, I'll probably end up getting a new radiator at some point, just because it would be nice. I also don't know if this car runs hot or not. That'll be something we'll have to find out at a later date. Let's see. Go along with replacing all those lines in the engine bay. We also need to figure out what they all are, because there's a lot of them, and I'm not really sure where most of them go or what they actually do. So that'll be fun. Let's see. What else is on the list? We need to wash this thing because it's a mess. Like I said, I brought it from Alabama, and it's got lots of years of gross dirt on it because it sat outside. Let's see. I think that's it for this one. I appreciate you guys stopping in, taking time to listen to me ramble about my some may call it questionable project car, but I love this little guy. So anyways, yeah, I'll catch you guys later. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, subscribe. If not, that's fine too. I'm not just some guy on the internet, so you guys can do what you want. Anyways, have a good one. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.
I was ready to surrender my heart to you.